we got the Kamala Harris merch right here.
Absolutely.
We voting for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
Are you kidding? Kamala Harris.
Definitely Kamala Harris.
In the house,
Guys,
yes.
Why is that? Why are we voting for Kamala Harris?
Well, number one, she talks about what we've lived. I'm an educator some 40 years, and what we've lived is lifting people up, not tearing them down. And he seems to specialize in that, tearing people down. And I am the absolute opposite. and he epitomizes everything that I've stood against and everything that I've trained and worked with my students to do. And that is to lift up one another and to achieve greatness and great heights and be told that they can always do well and do the best and be the best.
Yeah. And you guys, she's obviously been heavily involved in the Biden administration. What was your favorite accomplishment of hers as Vice President of the United States?
As Vice President of the United States, she was bold enough to go to the border and tell people to stay home. People forget that. and in fact, more so, there are a lot of people who are misinformed, and there's a lot of misinformation going around. And so let's set the record straight, if I may. And that is, Trump didn't give you a dime, people. That was the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris administration that gave you $2,300 and $1,500. No one else. Stop playing. This is not a game.
Hey, I got a question for you. When it comes to the border, Kamala Harris overlooking the border, telling them not to come, that is seemingly more of a sore subject when it comes to this administration. Worst border crisis in American history. And when she visited the border, she didn't visit the spot where the border crisis was happening. What are your thoughts about that? Is that something to tout for this for Kamala Harris when this is the worst border crisis in American history that we've seen under this administration? What do you think?
Oh, and more misinformation. And from you. That's funny.
Wait,
let's make it clear.
Yeah.
All right.
Clarify.
Just so you understand.
I don't think that was misinformation.
The Biden administration inherited that border crisis. You remember the one that Trump said that he was going to build a big wall? I think he made it about 5 feet. Not just that. It was so garbage that I think I could have made it through that wall. All I had to do was just open the door. But not just that. It was also done in a situation where they were advocating, not just advocating, but they also had a bill that they were going to strengthen the border. And in fact, that bill didn't even come from them. Yeah. It came from Congress. And they were with the bill, prepared to sign. They negotiated and everything else. And guess what? Donald Trump called up all his buddies and said, don't vote for it because I want them to seem like failures. Guess what?
Mind if I ask you?
They're not. They're not failures. And in fact, when Donald Trump
How did they inherit the border crisis, if you don't mind me asking?
Refused to put out that vaccine for the coronavirus and killed some 658,000 people. My friends that I went to college with also included. When that happened, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris came in office and put that vaccine out. So let's stop playing. This is not a game. And guess what? This is about lives.
Do you mind if I touch on the border crisis, though?
You tried, and I got it.
No. How did they inherit it? Yeah, how did they inherit it?
They inherited because
the border crisis.
How long have people been coming across the border?
But under Trump's administration, they were seeing a 50-year low of border crossings. It then jumped to 8 times as much.
So
that's a lie?
Yeah.
Why is that a lie?
Let me finish.
Flat out lie. I'm sorry.
It's actually not a lie. That's a fact.
Let's just be clear.
Your facts are lies.
During the Trump
you know where I got that fact from?
That's the reason why people don't really want to vote for Harris, because men disrespect women.
Well, ma'am, I'm just trying to get one point out. That's it.
Away.
Yeah. Okay, so please get your
During the Biden and Harris administration, they have those people who crossed the border and got separated from their children. They made sure that they got placed to where they're supposed to be placed with their parents. Some of them were not placed because they were separated or they couldn't find their parents, but Trump didn't do that. He's the one who caused the problem. Harris is the one invited.
The separation was not Donald Trump's policy.
It happened during his administration.
It was already in place. He actually ended that by executive order.
No, he didn't end it.
The family separation?
If he ended, then why are you now saying that there's a problem now? He didn't end border crisis. If that's the case, you wouldn't be saying there's a problem now.
You were just talking about family separation, and now we're talking about the border crisis.
During the border crisis, yes.
Okay.
Don't you remember all those families that were separated?
So the numbers that we're seeing right now we've never seen numbers like this in the history of the United States.
Well, you know, people are coming across. No president have ended it. Not Trump, not Biden, not Obama, not Bush. So it's not just their problem, it's our problem.
Right.
Okay? Right. So when are we going to do something about it?
Well,
the reason presidents and stuff when they have to be.
Well, they undid policy that was working, that we found about a 45, 50-year low on illegal crossings at the southern border.
Not necessarily.
According to Customs and Border Protection.
You have to understand, during that time is during the pandemic.
Yeah. Before that was even low.
Oh yeah, during Obama's administration, yes, I'll agree with that.
Oh yeah, no, Obama did great too, but Trump did. But Trump continued that, and they implemented effective policy that got it really under control. One would be the Remain in Mexico agreement.
What
it was working.
happened to with those families that came across and they were separated? That was not during.
We're talking about two different things right now, though. We're talking about the number of crossings versus family separation.
They came across. That's how they got separated.
Yeah.
Those families came across, and he separated those families.
Oh, that was the Trump administration.
That was Trump.
But that wasn't a Trump policy. He actually do you mind if I finish? Yeah, of course it does, because he ended family separation by executive order in 2018. So the policy was, when you get arrested, your child doesn't go to jail with you, because if you got arrested, would your child go to jail with you?
No, but
No.
that's
it was the same thing at the
what
border.
it is.
It was the same thing at the border.
It didn't occur when he separated them during that time.
What do you mean by that?
When the families were coming across, they were separated. They were treated inhumanely, and that was during Trump's administration.
You mentioned inhumanely. Right now, the Biden and Harris administration has about 300,000 children that came here illegally that are unaccounted for. Does that seem humane?
Ask you
Is that a good thing?
Only if you counted them.
Right,
I want to see
right.
your figures. Did you write it down?
I want
Let me
to
see.
Let
me see your
those
figures.
numbers
I'm sorry.
I want to see.
Those numbers are from the federal government.
I want to see the videos and the videos that we the film. Because during
Hey, you can look it up if you like.
during Trump, we saw it.
What was that, ma'am?
We saw that they were being treated humanely. Where are the people that going over there photographing that or going over there filming that? We don't see that. Anybody
You
can
would
say
describe what's
anything.
happening
It's
right
like
now
the
as
vote.
humane?
Anybody who's treated unfairly is inhumane.
Yeah.
You know what?
Most deaths at the southern border
Slavery
right now?
was definitely inhumane, and you know everybody got paid for what is it called? They got paid for
Reparations?
except for black people. They don't want to even acknowledge it now. And
Do you
now,
think Kamala Harris
I-
will Kamala Harris give reparations if she wins? Do you think?
I don't know.
Is that important to you or no?
Right now, it's not the first thing on the table. You know what's the first thing on the table?
Get rid of Trump.
It's not only that, but it's just
He's not in office right now.
Well, just making sure
I said
that
get rid of him. Take him to jail like everybody else who's a convicted felon.
Sir, the worst border crisis in American history, you guys. So how do we justify this? The worst border crisis in American history under Biden and Harris?
this is also an inherited thing, and people are coming across the border.
They inherited
How do you stop it?
they inherited
How do
a
you stop it?
50-year
How do
low
you stop
border
it?
crossings.
How do you suggest that it stops?
Reinstating Trump-era policies, Remain in Mexico,
Does that
getting rid
mean
of catch and release.
Reinstating Trump?
Huh?
Does that mean reinstating Trump?
Nope. In 2023, they introduced HR 2 that would have included those
She
policies.
will come up with something. It really has nothing to do with Biden Harris. It has something to do with what she's going to do. And I believe she's going to
Well,
stop
they were the one that undid the policies that were working.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So what policies have they put in that's going to work, or that is working?
They could get
What
rid of
policies
catch and
did they-
release.
Because they didn't just take it out.
Well, I'll tell you
It has
exactly.
to be replaced with something.
Do you want me to tell you what they did? So on week one,
My family, I gotta do that.
really quick, on week one, they reinstated catch and release. They pulled out of the Remain in Mexico agreement. They halted construction of the border wall. And all of that said, okay, great. If you come to the country, you can seek asylum in the country. That's why we ended up with 3 million people entering the country per year.
Well, you know what? A lot of white people are benefiting from it.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, because they can
It's
hire
a
them
corporate
for,
position.
Yeah, but we're not.
But shouldn't we be
We're not.
raising wages for the American people and
Yeah.
not importing
We
cheap
have.
foreign
Under
labor?
Under the Biden-Harris, wages have been raised. Under the Biden and Harris administration, wages have been raised.
Real wages are down under this administration.
But it hasn't. All statewide, their wages are down. And you know who pays?
Do you mind if I
People
ask?
like you and me.
Yes.
We pay for it.
Yeah.
So
Do you mind if I ask?
the government doesn't have anything to do with raising the wages. They pass it on to us, just like PG&E,
Right.
energy people. Whenever there's a disaster or problem, we have to pay, which is the reason why we need to be taken care of, which is what Harris is going to do. Take care of the middle class people.
You're making
so
a
that
great
we
argument
can
to not
take
import
care
cheap
of
labor.
The world.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
You're making a wonderful argument to not import millions of people for cheap labor.
Well, you know what?
You see what I'm saying?
They're not just coming from Mexico.
I didn't say that
I
they're.
know. What I'm saying is there are a lot of people coming all over. I'm not saying import them, but I'm saying, yes, they come over, but people are coming over from all over the world.
That's right.
And yet, they're utilizing them. I'm not saying that it's wrong or that it's bad, but, I think it should be done
I think
properly.
importing cheap labor, doesn't that just seem like it's hurting the American
paying
people?
us right either.
That's right. Ma'am, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you. Okay, bye-bye.